Welcome to Truly Heal and our mad scientist laboratory. Now, energy medicine. We had so many questions about why do I use a PEMF? What is a Rife device? What is better, Rife or PEMF? Or should I use a nasal laser? Or should I use a sonar dome? And it's very confusing. And I have to admit, it took me quite a while to understand the different principles and what they do. And I've been testing those equipments for a long time now. Actually did a lot of tests, a lot of check with dark field microscope, with instruments. I even have an oscillograph to find out the frequency, how they are influenced. But what I thought I'll do is guide you through a very, very easy understanding what those frequencies are for, where they come from, and what they are used for, and how you can make use of them for your own healing. And I'll do it without any technical schnick-schnack. I do it as simple and as practical as possible, all right? Now let's just look at the first stage, and this is really important because we are all electrical beings, and energy medicine has been proven to be very, very effective. It starts with homeopathy. You dilute a solution until there is nothing actually there anymore, and it's highest potency. It's energy medicine. If you have acupuncture, it's very, very strong energy medicine that is led through the needles into acupuncture points, energy points in the body, and through that the energy flow is reactivated. There is many forms, sound, light therapy, everything. But what I would like to do is give you an overview on where all this comes from. Now the first thing is the basics. Our Earth is like a huge, massive magnet. And whether we are on the Earth or a mile up or 5 miles up or up on a big mountain, it doesn't matter. The magnetic field on the Earth is so extremely strong and so deep that it can be felt out into space. And you can see that on this image here. The little Earth is actually, with its magnetic field, protecting itself against all the sun flares and everything. So it's a really powerful field that pulses and vibrates. Now think about the Earth core as being liquid and the crust outside being hard. Now that rubs and that causes friction, and that friction causes that magnetic field to be strong and vibrant. And it resonates between 0 and about 130 hertz. That's the Earth magnetic field. It vibrates, it hums all the time. And because we are living beings on Mother Earth, that frequency activates and brings us to life. If there would be no magnetic field, we would die. The stronger the magnetic field, the stronger we grow, the stronger our cells resonate. Every single cell in your body resonates on a certain frequency. Let's say bone cells have a different frequency than liver cells, then brain cells, then eye cells, then dendritic cells, then killer cells, immune cells, red blood cells. All of them have a breathing frequency, how they inhale and exhale. And that's the frequency in which your body functions. Now, if you have an Earth magnetic field that stimulates that and charges that, you are alive. The more you isolate yourself from nature, from that magnetic field, the more you die. And they found that out with astronauts who went out into space, to the moon. And they came back completely deflated, lack of energy, diseases, problems, blood clotting, all sorts of issues, until they realize that they have to charge them while they are far away from the Earth with laser, with PEMF, with all of those things that they lack because they are not within their normal habitat anymore. So that's how the whole situation was discovered. Now let's look at the frequency range, and I think this is really important. When you look at the whole spectrum of frequency, we start out with the lowest frequency. Hertz is actually a wavelength. So when you have that underground humming earthquakes, waves, anybody who has seen an earthquake, it's the earth moving, that slow motion, very, very low frequency, and that's what we have as 1 hertz going up to about 30, 40, 60 hertz. And that's the frequency of the friction of the earth. And then you go further up, then we have the humming of the wind, power lines, all of those things. They go from 60 up to 160, 200, 300 hertz. That's the frequency that is still very low and very powerful and still within our natural environment. And then we go further up, and that's when we come into TV monitors, radio waves, mobile phones, TVs, cell phones, all the microwaves then, and the gigahertz and all of those things. They are already in a frequency which is so fine, so small, that it is not supporting life as we know it, like the low humming frequency for our cells, but it's disturbing life. It's causing stress. Microwave causes heat, particles that rub so fast on each other that they start heating up. That's what microwave is. It vibrates at such a frequency that it causes heat, that it causes irritation, that it causes stress to cells. And then we move further to satellite energy and microwave, and then we come into the field of light, visible light. Now if you look, the visible light has been there forever. The Earth magnetic field has been there forever. Everything in between has been invented in the last 100 years. It hasn't been there. So all of that energy that we've developed in that short time is very unknown how it influences our human body. And then we move past the sunlight, the visible spectrum, which is made out of infrared and ultraviolet light. We move into the field of medical x-rays, radiating to look through, so they see your bone structure and look through all the soft membrane tissue. And then we have radiation like Fukushima and all of those, which is very detrimental. Highest frequency, completely destroying the cells, killing the DNA, and destroying our human life as we know. So radiation, medical x-rays, all of that destroys life. Then we have the sunlight, which is already at the top spectrum when we go into ultraviolet light, when we fly up out of the atmosphere at high levels, really high radiation. That's why stewardesses have a much higher, pilots, much higher cancer rate than people who live on Earth. And then we have all the electrical equipment and then ground waves. So just to give you an overview. Now, when we look at the devices that we talk about in cancer treatment, and I'm not saying they cure cancer, I say they are used in Europe and in many other countries as cancer treatment tools. And they all have a certain purpose, and I'll explain you the purpose now. But the low frequency ones, which are all the way to the right, which simulate the Earth vibration, are Rife, Oncotherapy, and the Rife technology. So, how do you use a Rife device? It's actually very simple. When you look at the transmission of those frequencies through the body, it works kind of fascinating. So let's just choose a program, and I don't care which one. Now I would choose here frequency 60 or 20 or 95, whichever is the frequency that really corresponds with my problem. If I have Helicobacter pylori, I would search that. If I have Lyme disease or borreliose, I would choose that frequency, which then kills those microbes. I program that in. It's very accurate. And then I press start. And now the energy builds up in the device, and you can see those glass tubes, which are plasma tubes. They are starting to load up with energy, and you can see them in a moment getting red. And then as soon as they do, you see now they shine up. And now if I touch them, and you can see that based on touch, they are now producing this frequency. Now I have my feet here on metal steel plates, and the frequency travels through my body, out through my feet, and it has exactly this frequency. Now we've tried, if you have they come also with little metal sensors, and if you put them on and you touch them, and we have an oscillograph here in the middle, you have that, and you touch them, you change the frequency already. So the frequency that would travel through the body is slightly different from what it's supposed to be from the book. And that's why those plasma tubes, they don't do that. And that's why they are far superior. If you have the plasma big bulbs, they radiate and shine out into the room. They have like a long distance activity. and they would penetrate the body and you have the same effect. So plasma is always preferred to all the other devices, and they really work stunningly. Now, as soon as you see, I see it here, and it goes through. If I have, let's say, cavitations and I have microbes or bacteria, I can use it like this. I can really, box it in and use the device to clean up that area. So it really is a direct tool. You can see if I don't touch it, it goes down. As soon as I touch it, it really shines up. So that plasma activity is very strong. You can actually feel it. Now, is that dirty electricity, EMF, what everybody is scared of? Well, we talk about dirty electricity when it goes up in frequency, when your body doesn't know what to do with it. So when you go up in frequency into mobile phones, radios, TVs, everything to do with gigahertz, fast internet, routers, that is very dirty electricity. If you go beyond the light spectrum into radiation, that's when it really hurts the body. But this is frequency on the vibration of Earth energy, just very strongly intensified. So let's say Mother Earth would normally keep you healthy, would keep your bacteria in check, would keep your microbes all in balance, and that's what normally would work. Now with our lifestyle, we put a lot of strain onto that natural healing system, and that's where these things come in to boost a bit more, to give you that extra grunt that you need to have a therapeutic effect. Again, let's differentiate that. You have normal healing, which is in time with the resources that your body has from Mother Nature. If you separate yourself indoors, rubber shoes, insulation, linoleum floors, away from the world. You don't sleep on the ground outside in the forest or in the woods. You don't go swimming under a waterfall every day to wash yourself. Well, then you are a little bit separated from nature. And this is then when this is an extra boost to support healing energy, those areas which activate. And then you have on the other side a reduction of those pathogens that shouldn't be in your body. They get regulated with these devices and you can tune the frequencies really well. Now we use this especially for parasites, Lyme disease, all of those things where we can really hone in on what it is, what is the problem. If you have a stool test and you get your bacteria load back and you know, wow, Helicobacter pylori or Klebsiella, very high, then you tune that in. You use that, you can hold that to your tummy, you can hold that to your throat, it doesn't matter, it doesn't hurt, it's earth frequency, and it goes through your body and it will regulate. Is it a once-off treatment? No. It's a treatment that you do for months every day. You just keep doing it, you keep doing it. The longer you do, the more you recreate that balance. It's not a one-off treatment. Now, if you hit the right frequency, and this is something important to know, you hit the right frequency and you have a massive die-off, let's say, of parasites, you get headache, nausea, Herxheimer reaction, which is not really good. So you don't want that. So as soon as you feel when you use it, oh, there's a migraine coming along, turn it off. Just go drink a lot of water, cleanse, flush, have a sauna, have a bath, pull out the toxins, go and have a bowel movement, do 2 or 3 coffee enemas to get rid of the toxins. All of that, flush out. Then do the treatment instead of 3 minutes per frequency, go down to 1 minute per frequency and reduce the endurance and then build slowly up until that massive die-off is gone, and then you slowly rebuild that balance in your body. So this is actually a dream tool and I'm very happy. I was always suspicious, Rife, it's one of those miracle cures. No, it's actually a very scientific tool that you can use very practically and very scientifically to achieve certain outcome. All right? Now, Rife is actually, let me turn this off, is actually the basis of everything else that came afterwards. So if we look now at PEMF, pulse electromagnetic frequencies, and you remember they were just even in a narrower window underneath, that is the same thing. We use the same frequencies, earth vibrational frequencies, but we don't do it to kill off bacteria or fungi or mold. We actually use it to stimulate the healing. Now, frequencies that we have programmed into the Curatron device is actually rebuilding oxygen uptake, activating your immune system, activating cartilage regrowth, expedite wound healing. All of those things have been frequencies determined very accurately, and that's years of research and study by different doctors. And those frequencies are then set into the program, and you use them as PEMF. Now, a lot of people now say, well, which one? There is the low vibrational PEMF, which usually comes with those mats, full body mat, small body mat, or the intensity coil. Or there is the PMT 100, which you see here in the picture, with the coil. Now, that's the most expensive device. It's massive discharge at once. Now, to do that, they need to have big coils. It's a very, elaborate machine. It discharges all of those frequencies at once in a bang, bang, bang. Now, you can turn it into duck, 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 duck. I love the strong, really hit. And now, what is the benefit between this and this? Very, very simple. If you use the PMT 100, which is a massive discharge at once, then it recharges and it discharges again. A healthy cell, any healthy cell in your body, survives that perfectly, has no problem whatsoever. It just simply, discharges the energy to all the other cells, and because they work in unison, they communicate with each other, they deflate that and they recharge and they build up their cell membrane potential. They go from whatever state they are into a fully charged state. And the whole body communicates and recharges with those massive discharges. Whereas cells that don't communicate with the rest, which we know cancer cells are, and unhealthy cells and weird and abnormal cells and slightly, deformed cells, they have not the ability to take on this strong charge. They can't deviate it, so they explode. They die off. And this is why Dr. Rao, Dr. Henning, and many clinics in Europe use those strong devices actually as a cancer treatment, because it kills off cancer cells. And again, it's not once and you do it and the cancer dies. It's actually that ongoing bombardment every day, 2 or 3 times. You have a treatment in the morning before you go for your IV treatments. You have a treatment before you have your hypothermia, your local hypothermia. You have one before you go to bed, so your night healing process is activated. So it's a really dream tool, and it does 2 things at once. Kill with overcharge unhealthy cells and charge healthy cells. That's the purpose of the PMT 100, and every clinic needs to have one of those. It's really mandatory. If you're a chiropractor, if you have anything to do with rebuilding cartilage, bone density, muscle, memory change in the muscle structure, all of that, this is the device that you will need. If you want to just reboot and recharge your healing and cell functioning, then these devices are great. Now, they are a lot more affordable than the PMT 100, but therefore they don't have those massive discharges. These devices, they have bursts of frequencies. Let's say we have 27 hertz, which we know stimulates your white blood cells. So you have 27 hertz and they go da 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 da. You have, like, let's say, bursts of 12 small bursts with that frequency. And if you, let's say, hold that here to your head, let's just turn it on. I don't see it, but I guess this is now program number 4. And if I press here, it starts. I'm not certain you see it better than me. But now I hear that, and I can hold that to the microphone. I hope you hear that too. Yeah, I guess you do. Now, if I hold that here like they do at the Paracelsus Clinic in the dental department, if you had a wisdom tooth withdrawn, pulled, no swelling, no infection, Nothing, because your self-healing activity is full on concentrated in that area. When you use this device over a period of time and you take the white blood cell count in that area, it's highly increased. Your red blood cell is with a frequency, I think, of 18 hertz. I'm not so sure about the hertz and the frequencies, but they are stimulated and they blow up like balloons. You have before coin rolls. You use that device for 15 minutes, they charge and they can carry oxygen, and through that they can carry healing into that area. So every single frequency that is programmed into that is a healing frequency for particular types of cells. Bone cells, liver cells, healthy cells, detoxification cells, all of that are stimulated with that, full on activated, and through that they bring that healing that you need. Now you can sit here and have 2 or 3 programs run behind each other on your pancreas, on your liver. You can sit on it. You can put it in your crutch, between your legs. You can sit on it on your chair, and through that box, prostate, for example, and because of that increased activity in that area, you then produce more white blood cells in that area. You activate the healing, oxygenation, and through that, detoxification and healing. So it's a tool that you can use all the time. Like last week, I came home from a surf accident, squashed my fingers, ran into the rocks, had all sorts of aches and pains. I was walking in like an old man, and I had bumped my back against a rock. My surfboard shattered, and I was really coming home completely desolate. I used this device on every single part that hurt. First of all, it's one of the best pain reliefs that there is. And secondary, it's soothing, mending, and healing. You have like the healing function. Every healing, wound healing, is expedited by a factor 2 or 3. Again, research from Dr. Finn Scott Anderson in Denmark. They've done a lot of research on PEMF and wound healing, and there is plenty of research papers. So that's what you use this device for, and you use that in the low spectrum of earth magnetic vibration. In regards to strength, a lot of people ask me, how strong do I need it? Very simple. If you measure, and let's just turn on here this device. Now this is an electromagnetic reader. You can see on this distance, it's full on, even here. Look, I go all the way back here and it's still full. Okay, now I need to move that arm too. Now the needle comes a little bit back. You can see that? Now if I go full on, now this is already the lowest. See, this is strength. Now let's just say you put that here, you still have throughout the whole body the effect. The problem is magnetic energy dissipates with 1 inch by 1/4, 1/8, 1/16. So the energy gets less and less on distance, and that's why this device is strong enough to penetrate the whole body and to actually have a massive therapeutic effect. Let me talk about that again. You can lay in the grass and you can lay out in the sunshine and you have the same effects. The earth magnetic field does it. But if you have disease growing within you and you need a real massive boost, you need that energy fast and now, you don't want to play along with 0.6 Gauss and 0.1 Gauss. That's toys. You want something that really penetrates and gives you that energy very fast and very intense. And then the healing can work. ATP production can function, all the oxygen uptake. If you use the device 20 times to achieve the same result as you have here with 1 time, it's just a massive increase. And that's why we love that device. It comes with the high intensity coil 700 Gauss, and you can have our special model which comes with 1000 Gauss. And that's a really dream tool because it really helps you to boost that healing factor that you need. All right, what's next? We have the ongoing, we have the burst, and now let's look at Oncotherm. Now, Oncotherm is a treatment that is mostly practiced or almost exclusively practiced in Europe, and it's again, in that low earth vibrational field, radio waves that are sent through the body, antenna and receiver, sender and receiver, through the body. And because it's a frequency that responds with high ionic particles, and cancer cells are laden with ions, they are heating up. They start vibrating. Now your healthy cells, all your healthy tissue around, doesn't have that high metabolic charge and buildup of ions and heavy metals and toxins, so that stays cool. But it's cell-focusing throughout the tumor. It heats up the tumor gets very hot. It's the most famous treatment to have massive results, even in stages where you wouldn't have hope. So if you have already an advanced cancer, this is a treatment that you would want to use to reduce the tumor load, to break it down, to really penetrate it. They combine it in Germany with the strong PEMF, with the pulsing discharge PEMF. They combine it with light therapy. They combine it with hypothermia, with heat. We talk about that in a moment. And they combine it with that radio oncotherm therapy, so that it really brings massive destruction of cancer cells, and it works. That's why Europe and Germany is still #1 country in the world where everybody flies if they can afford the treatments. All right, now let's move on to the next one. We have a completely different sector, and that's why it's important to me that you understand it. We were first talking about earth vibration and earth frequency. Now we talk about light therapy. If you look at the spectrum, it starts with infrared, near infrared, far infrared, and then it goes into infrared light, then it goes into the visible spectrum, the 7 colors of the rainbow, and then it moves into the ultraviolet light. Now these frequencies are what we perceive as light. This is what makes us see the world. Now these frequencies are used in a completely different way. They are recharging. They are, giving us life energy. The earth vibration is a completely different form than the light energy. Without light, nothing grows. And that brings me to one of the biggest, revelations for me. Everything which is dark and moist, sewage, all the drains, everything that is a house which has not a lot of sunshine, grows mold and bacteria and fungi. If you have a mattress in a bedroom that is slightly moist and you have all the skin and everything rubbing off, everything grows in that mattress, in those pillows. It's disgusting. From fleas and lice and bacteria and mold, and you can smell it. In the same way, when you look at a human body, everything where there is no sunshine, you start sweating, warm and moist, bacteria build up. If you look at your feet, your shoes, warm and moist in the shoes, you start sweating. All of those things are bacteria, mold, fungi, critter habitats. And that's what happens within our body if we don't expose to enough sunshine, light and warmth and wind and oxygen and dry air. So here you have it. It's a very simple principle. Disease and bacteria and fungi and parasites grow in warm, moist and uncirculated areas. Now what do we do with laser light? We actually simulate the sunlight, and if we turn it on, now this is a really dream device. My wife always uses it. I have too many gadgets. I don't get to use them all, but this is something you just plug up your nose, and then you put that in your pocket and you forget about it. It runs for 25 minutes, and what does it do? It simulates sunshine into your nasal cavities where you have massive blood vessels. It simulates sunshine into your brain, into your amygdala, into your frontal lobe. It simulates happy hormones, sunshine, holiday feelings. It really makes a huge difference. Now there is tons of research, and I won't even go into that. Red laser kills fungi, mold, bacteria, all of those things. It flags them, makes them visible to your immune system. Plus, this is the most important, it stimulates your immune system. It stimulates oxygen uptake. It activates your red blood cell. It's an amazing tool. There is so much research about red laser that it would be the most stupid thing not to use it. And because this device, 40,000 hours on the lamp, and you can even get a replacement lamp. You just buy a new lamp and you plug it in and then the thing works. This is with one little AA battery. It runs a dream device to use on a daily basis to simulate sunshine in your nose, sunshine in your blood, penetrating your blood. And think about putting your mattress out into the sunshine once a year to get rid of all the microbes. Well, it's the same thing when you do that. You get rid of all the microbes, and it's not a once-off treatment and it's done. It's an ongoing treatment that you do for many months on end, and you do it daily, and you can, put the cable behind your ear, put it into a pocket and forget about it. Do it in the morning, do it in the evening, and through that, you slowly rebalance your system, you activate your immune system, and you kill off some of the critters that shouldn't be in your body, and that's it. Now that's red laser, and you can see that in the spectrum again. I just go back. In the spectrum 655, that's where it starts. Now we go to the next one, which is 810. That's near infrared. And again, we just follow studies that show that the near infrared promotes a wide range of biological effects, including enhancement of energy production, ATP production. It changes your gene expression, prevents cell death, activates healing, and it's very effective on your nervous system, on your neurosystem. Now again, look up frequency 810 at PubMed, what it does and what research you have on near infrared. It's kind of amazing. So they use it for depression. It's like seeing the light at the end of the tunnel. When you put that nasal light up, it starts to bring in hope. It starts to change your whole endorphins, all your happy hormones. It shines directly into the brain. It influences the stem, the brain stem, and through that all your nervous system starts healing. It activates your hormonal system. It's a dream tool. It's used in medical fields in many different ways. And now with the 810, not this one, that's the nasal laser, but with the 810, you can actually use that to repair and to work on that mental factor, emotional factor, and energy factor that a lot of people lose. When you get sick, you get drained in energy, you get fatigue, you don't have hope anymore. Well, the 810 brings all that back because that's what it activates, that frequency. It's that part of the sunshine, that spectrum of the sunlight that gives you hope and a future. So that's what you do with the 810. All right, there's many other factors. Just read them up. Go on PubMed. I really encourage you to do that. Don't take me as a source. Just say, okay, Marcus has said so, but I'm going to check now and see whether he was right. Near infrared 810 frequency is an amazing tool to repair many of those functions that people lose when they go into a constant state of disease and sickness. And then we go into far infrared. That's further away. Now, you don't see light anymore. You don't see anything, but it's still like a light frequency. It's that part of the sunshine that penetrates your skin and heats your blood vessels inside. You know that feeling when you feel warm from the inside out from the sun? Now that's exactly that feeling. It penetrates, goes deep, it heats up the blood vessels, your core body temperature rises, and through that you sweat from the inside out. That's how we were used to detoxify through the skin. A Finnish sauna produces heat from the outside like a fire, and you sweat to cool off the skin, but it's not sweating from the inside out. And that's why you have 100 times more toxic discharge on the far infrared heat. Now, the far infrared heat is already in a spectrum that can produce dirty electricity because it's a high frequency. And that's why we need to be very careful, and that's why don't just buy any kind of far infrared sauna that produces this kind of EMF. It's very detrimental, it's very dangerous, it causes high stress to your cells, and you don't want that. I've created a video where I show you exactly how you measure EMF, how you measure the frequency, how it actually shows how little impact that sonar dome has on you and how effectively it heats you up. You get in no time, in 45 to 50 minutes, you heat up to fever conditions, which they do in Europe as fever therapy, hypothermia. And when you do that and you heat up, you produce massive amounts of immune system. White blood cells are created in the bone marrow, and then they are flushed out into the body and they start taking care of all the things that they're supposed to do. It self-regulates the immune system. It charges your white blood cells to do the proper job. It helps with uptake of nutrient. It's an amazing treatment. It's actually the foundation of all European clinics to have that great success. And believe me, it's still the #1 country in the world to go to with cancer, if you can afford it. So having the hypothermia dome is, in my opinion, a mandatory. Like if I had cancer, there would be no other device I would buy first. This is #1. And then move on to all the others. But this is really the starting place. And yes, it's an effort. Yes, it's a procedure, but it's worth it. It really is. All right. Now, that's it. I think I've given you a clear overview on what those devices are for and what they are used for and what the frequencies are for, so that you can make the right choice and the right decision for your own recovery from cancer or any other degenerative disease.